What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host, Donovan Quick, and this might be a little more calm than my first video that I made. My mic was muted for that, so a lot less cursing in this one. But basically the message is, pack it up. The season's over. That was a miserable finish to that game. Miserable second half in total, honestly. The defense, I will give you props. You played well today. You gave up 10 points and then 10 off of turnover. 20 points in total, 10 off of turnovers. It's not those 10 points aren't your fault. Do I want to put it on Tua? 100%. I'm going to put it on Tua. Now it's not solely on Tua, because the offensive line was absolutely terrible. But Tua has to play better. The fumble, he looked like he was about to throw it, and he evaded the first pressure, and he didn't see the second pressure coming. So I'll allow that one to kind of be like, okay, you're not off the hook, but you're okay, right? The first interception to Bullock. That was the second time he didn't see Bullock. I don't know how you're not seeing a safety right in front of where your guy is supposed to be. I know McDaniel said that guys aren't where they're supposed to be. Maybe hinting at Tyreek Hill was supposed to come underneath. And maybe it was a similar situation on that last interception, or the second interception, where once again, Tua looks like he was throwing an out route and he was late to it. Stingley jumped on it. And look, that was awful. I thought he should have thrown that more out and a little bit more zip on it. Jacob and I were talking. He thinks that it was just extremely late. It was also inside. So I didn't. That whole play was just, what are you doing? Because you're in the red zone. You're down by 8. You just can't be making those mistakes. And he hasn't made those mistakes. So I don't know why he was doing that now. Maybe he got another concussion on that run play that he dove forward on. Penalties killed us. A lot of holding penalties. Offensive line was terrible. Patrick Paul looked pretty decent. Rob Jones was fairly quiet today. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll probably rewatch in anger later. Aaron Brewer played He played good in the run game, decent in the pass game. Liam Meikenberg, you are the worst human being alive to me right now. You don't deserve to be on an NFL roster after today. I don't want to ever be compared to you ever again. Liam Meikenberg, you were terrible. I was fighting for you early in the season, being like, look, no, Liam is playing well. He had a couple of rough snaps last game, but he's playing well. He's having a great year overall. Today was terrible, bro. I don't know what you're doing, what you're dealing with, or if you're just that bad. But you got thrown on your ass in pass protection so much. In the run game, you were okay, which you have been throughout your entire career. That's kind of the reason that you're starting on this offensive line, is because of your ability to block in the run game. But your pass protection, I defended you last year saying you're not a center, that it takes a special type of player to be able to get the ball off and be able to go up and block and not be thrown on your ass. But I defended you. I was saying you're not a center. You're an offensive guard, having that timing of getting off the ball. But I think your just timing is terrible. I think you're just late off the snap every time. Your timing to get up and get into your footwork is terrible. Because today it was terrible. I don't know what you're doing. Jackson Carman, I mean, honestly, for me not knowing who the hell you were before today, you played fairly well. But you gave up a key sack, which afterwards we used our timeout. By the way, why is it that our clock management in games against teams over 500 is terrible, but our clock management against teams under 500 is actually pretty good? I don't understand the concept there. Like, I don't understand our clock management sometimes. Like, that first timeout, I was not happy about it, but I understood, because you're on 4th and 5, you're down by 8. You make that play. You go and get that first down. And then a couple plays later, Tua throws an interception, and you're just like, shoot me now. But then you use a timeout on 2nd and 25. Like, brother, that is over. That drive is over. You're backed up within your own 10. It's 2nd and 25. You haven't thrown the ball more than 10 yards downfield all day without it being in triple coverage. So what are we doing? That is not what we're doing. Use the timeout there. Took a sack on the next play. Who would have guessed it? And just terrible, bro. It's just terrible. Malik Washington was a bright spot today. If you're going to ask me, by the way, playoffs are done. I just want to let y'all know that right now, because as of this moment, the Broncos and the Colts are going to be playing each other. We need the Colts to lose 2 out of their last 5 games, and we need the Broncos to lose 3 of their last 5 games. So whoever loses, great. The Broncos do have a more difficult schedule, but they've been playing really well. It's the odds that they drop off and lose 3 of their games, and it's probably not good. And we probably need them to win this game against the Colts, because the Colts have a cupcake schedule going forward, and we need them to lose 2 games. Now, we do have the tiebreaker over Cincinnati. We do have the tiebreaker. We don't have the tiebreaker over the Colts. And really, it's just us and Cincinnati that are in the hunt. Like, mathematically, we're still in it, but realistically, we're really, really not. And I'll make a video showing you guys everything after this week is over. I'll probably put it out tomorrow. But yeah, this season is done. And do I think McDaniel should be fired? Come back to me at the end of the season. I want to see how this team plays for the rest of the year. Because the defense responded well today. They played well against a good offense. I know they haven't really been that great this year, but it is still a good offense. And our offense, we found ways to move the ball even with our terrible offensive line. I mean, look, we were rolling out there with our 4th and 5th string tackles. You're going to have to come back to me after the season to see if I want McDaniel gone, or do I think some changes need to be made to the coaching staff. Come back to me after the season. However, Chris Grier needs to be gone. I've made excuses for him. I have said, look, I think that this team was all in for 3 years, the first 2 years with Mike McDaniel. Gave a lot of money to Tyreek Hill, gave a lot of money to Jalen Ramsey, and this year it was kind of more of like a reset year. And we kind of said at the beginning of the season, or in the off season, that it was kind of like a reset year financially and for the roster. Like, that check came. We had to pay up. We lost Christian Wilkins in free agency. Had to let him walk. He was too expensive. Lost Robert Hunt in free agency. Had to let him walk. He was too expensive. Brandon Jones we lost in free agency. He got big money from the Broncos. Obviously lost Andrew Van Ginkel. That one was a little bit more questionable. We could have retained him with the money that we gave between Shaq Barrett and Odell and others that just haven't really produced. So we could have found the money to give to Andrew Van Ginkel. So that I'm putting him on the hook for. His draft picks. I mean, look, outside of drafting offensive line, which I will give him, Patrick Paul looks good. And he was drafted as a developmental piece. He was our 4th string tackle. He was drafted to be developmental, and he's played well. As far as everything else, though, it's like Chop Robinson looks pretty good now that he's come alive in the second half of the season. Patrick McMorris, he looks decent on special teams. He looked good in the preseason. Preseason doesn't mean shit, though. Malik Washington looks really good, but I think Malik Washington, Jalen Wright, those are more McDaniel picks. I don't think those are necessarily Grier picks. Signings. Aaron Brewer looks decent. Isaiah Wynn, was good for us last year. We re-signed him, but we just didn't address the guard position at all besides that, and he hasn't even played this year. He was just activated off IR before last week's game, and he hasn't played. And I mean, Shaq Barrett over Andrew Van Ginkel is always going to be a head scratcher to me. That's just an awful signing. Anthony Walker was a decent signing. Jordan Brooks was a good signing. But like Kendall Fuller, like If we couldn't find someone better, I'd rather re-sign Noah Igbenogany. Like, I really do. Igbo's having a decent season. And it's just, man, you can't get the offensive line right. And that's just really, I'm going to ramble on here. But if you can't get the offensive line right, you will never have a good team. And he has struggled to make this offensive line good since he's become GM. And he became GM solely after the Adam Gase era. So the beginning of Brian Flores to right now. And look, the offensive line's been up and down. It's had good, it's had terrible. And I don't know what needs to happen, but it's just not good from Chris Grier. And I think that's a change that needs to be made. I made excuses for him. He's good. He's somewhat good financially, and I liked his draft picks a little this year. But I mean, look, we need something more. We need guys that are going to be just constantly in here, stepping up, stepping in. Like, I don't understand still to this day why we have two elite receivers, right? Elite receivers. And yeah, they're double covering those two elite receivers. Jonnu, great signing. I think, once again, McDaniel. But we're not able to get people constantly open. It's not like they're dropping 7 in coverage every single time. Like, there has to be spots that are open, especially with two people being double covered. Dude, it's so frustrating. Let me know what you guys think. This season is over. You will not tell me otherwise, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm so dejected. I'm so angry right now because there was chances to win this game. There were so many chances to win this game, and we just could not pull it off offensively. It was just, defense did their job. Tua, bro, those 2 interceptions were terrible. That last one, I put a little bit more on Tyreek than you. It's literally like 50.001 and then 49.0099 or 99, whatever the fuck. Like, it's just, Tyreek should have ripped that from his hands. Like, you have 2 hands on the ball, he has 1 hand. You got to come down with that. I don't care if he's 6 inches taller than you, 50 more pounds. You got to come down with that. He has 1 hand on the ball. You got to rip that from him. I don't care if that ball falls incomplete. I really don't. Because that is 1st and 10 with over a minute and a half left to play. You just cannot let him come down with that ball, whatever you do. And I feel like Tyreek Hill has been checked out, and I am perfectly fine with moving off of him. I really am. I wanted to bring in a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai Mitchell this offseason because I wanted another young receiver, a bigger receiver at that. And because in those situations, this is exactly the situation that I'm talking about. Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, they come down with those jump balls. You know, they're fast guys. They are 4'3" guys that can go up and get a pass because they're 6'4". You're throwing a jump ball to a 5'10" receiver, 5'8" receiver. It's not a good thing. Deuces.